Hi everyone. Today I'm very excited to have Dylan Chia here, who is a third year undergrad at the National University of Singapore. Also, he's part of my lab group. And basically, he is an expert at vibe coding. He has used that to win multiple hackathons. And today I'm very pleased to have him to share with us some of his vibe coding skills. So without further ado, Dylan, please.
Yeah, so thanks, Sean, for the introduction. It's very kind of you. Um, Today, the main idea of the presentation I'm going for is just a good vibe survey. So this will be a very chill, will be a very calm presentation of what we can do with the state-of-the-art AI tools that we have, particularly having to do with a lot of the creative and also implementation stuff that we do. So I titled my presentation Good Vibes Only, music, slides, video, and coding. So we're going to try out a lot of the latest AI tools. We'll be using Gamma to do the slides, and we'll be using Gemini with a lot of the new coding frameworks. Sorry, Gemini with a lot of the new music and also video generation models, so Lyria 2 and also Veo3. And for coding, we'll be using VS Code with GitHub Copilot, which is easily accessible. And I'll try to share best practices on what to do when it comes to vibe coding. So first of all, what exactly is a vibe? I feel like a vibe is a distinctive emotional energy that you feel maybe when AI does all your work for you. And hopefully we still have a job 5 years in the future. But with how things are progressing, it's really scary. But also it's really motivating for creatives that sort of have an idea and want to take it to implementation. And through the use of all these vibe tools, we are really able to get from 0 to 1 a lot faster. So today I'm going to present a scenario of vibes of using the transformer paper. So let's say you're a bit of a more technical person, and you want to start off in a transformer paper study session. So the first thing you need is to have some good music, right, to kick off your day. So over here, I'm going to introduce Google AI Studio. It is a very useful tool with a lot of different apps and also functionality inside. You will be able to try out all of the latest Google AI tools here, which I think is amazing value, especially given that it's free. So the first
Oh, So,
model that I'm
so
going to bring up,
anyone can just go AI Studio and use this, right? Right now, if I type in AI Studio, I should be able to use this vibe coding for music as well. Is that correct?
yep, that's right.
Oh,
There's you just need a new Google account. Nothing else is needed. However, some functionality might be restricted for certain regions. So for example, image gen 4 and also some of the other models are not available in some regions. So we'll be using other websites to access that. But over here, in this generate media section, so in the left toolbar, we can click on generate media. And over here, we have this Lyria real time, which allows you to create and control music. So over here, I'm going to give you an example of how it is like to write code in a online IDE. So over here, this is the Google AI Studio sort of coding editor. We are able to see the code that shows the MIDI preview over here. And then we can click on this show code assistant over here, and we can customize whatever music we want. So what this code is doing is allowing the user to use different knobs to control the weights and also the prompts to send to Google's Lyria model over here. So we are able to use this Lyria real-time experimental model to generate interesting sounds and also interesting vibe music. So let's go ahead and have a technical music. So let's say we have a technical, since it's Transformers, let's have a robotic, and also
Can we have some
let's
like
have a
you know, those kind of
futuristic
typewriter sounds? I don't know.
typewriter sound. Yeah. Okay, but
Yeah,
for
something
some
like that.
sometimes when you give it more fixed sounds, it is likely to evolve into a more musical sound because this is one of the earlier models that Google has. So we'll see whether there's typewriter. But technical, robotic, vibes, chill. So let's have a nicer sort of music over here, more thematic for what we're doing. So as we can see over here, Google is using their thinking model, generating code, and uh, it's really able to do it very fast. Like if you have a normal software engineer do this, it will probably take them like, I don't know, half a day to do it, writing all this code. Um, but all you can do is to just give it an idea and then have it come out with a new dashboard with the sounds you want. So I think that's a really fantastic just saving time and being able to iterate quickly. So let's see what kind of code it comes up with.
I'm
So
actually
one thing to know with
amazed.
vibe
I'm
coding,
I'm quite amazed Google released all this for free for people to use. And like it's like an auto music generator. Or not say all kinds of music, but those kind of musics that have certain tunes that repeat, This I mean behind the scenes, how I understand this is it generates all the 16 tunes, right? And then you can choose which tune to dial up. And you can mix and match your tune based on the 16 generated tunes based on your prompt. Am I right?
yeah, that's right. It's precisely it. So if you are a technical person, you can just read the code and it's really easy to see what each part is doing. And if you're not sure of what the code is doing, you can just ask it and be like, hey, what is this part of the code doing? I'm not so sure. And over here, right, you see that there was an error just now where it failed to compile. So actually this is sort of like an agentic framework where it feeds the error back into the model and then is able to fix sort of the biggest problem and give you a working prototype. So let's go ahead and try out the knobs over here. Technical, let's go robotic, we'll go more futuristic. John, is there anything that you wanted to do as well?
Yeah, the
That's now typewriter, right?
typewriter, yeah.
Typewriter. Let's give it a bit of a chill wave vibe as well and good vibes. And let's see what kind of music comes up with. So sometimes it takes a while because oh, you managed to hear the
Yeah,
music?
I heard. I think in general it sounds quite relaxing. The
Quite relaxed.
futuristic part I thought it would be wang wang wang, that kind of thing. But maybe that's the AI's version of futuristic, like very soothing kind of music.
Yeah. It's certainly a vibe. It's like da 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 da. But this is still one of the earlier Lyria models. So I think the later Lyria models, they are not real time. They're actually able to generate even more detail and follow your prompt even closer. Yeah. So let's give it
Yeah, it will be cool
another.
once a model like jukebox will be released for free, where you can even get like the instruments. And I mean here you have the instruments, but for jukebox they also have the voice and you can type in your lyrics. Yeah, so I think this technology is definitely there, and this is basically how much we should release this because of IP issues and everything. And I'm actually looking forward to the day that you can just create your own soundtracks. Yeah, that will be a revolutionary moment in the history of AI, I feel.
Yeah, new copyright-free soundtracks that you can use for all your video. So this is really awesome. And over here, right, with this online cloud editor, you are actually able to deploy your app. So you can save your app over here. So let's say you call it Techno Vibes, and you can save it. And then you can also deploy to Cloud Run so that all your other friends can actually use the app. Just that you need to enable it for your Google Cloud account. So you need to turn on billing for your account. But this is one of the more complicated interfaces to access Lyria, I'll say. If you have a Google Cloud account, you can actually go ahead and go to Vertex AI over here. So how how you access this is a little bit more complicated, but basically all you have to do is to go to Google Cloud Console. So Google Cloud Console, and then you type in Vertex AI Studio, and then you can just go to the first result over here, and then click on Try it in console, and then you'll be redirected to this page over here, and you can access all of this. But there'll be some setup stages where you need to key in maybe your credit card details and everything. Okay, but over here I have a fully paid account, so I'm able to try out the different things. But I can go to Media Studio over here, and I can simply click on Generate Music. So let's say I wanted the techno vibes prompt just now over here. So I can just simply give it to the Lyria model over here directly. So this is using Lyria 2. So the results might even be better than Lyria real time.
But this one,
But let's see what kind of.
turn up the knobs as well, or you have no choice in it?
This one you have no choice because this is more of like a tester for the API. So if you want to turn up the knobs, you would have to code out something like this, or you have to build it yourself in Python with the docs over here. Or you can just write code yourself a knobs app using Streamlit offline. So over here, you see you have generate music from text, and then you can use all these API to help you do the music generation. Okay, but let's come back to this later. I'll now go on to the next part, which is video generation, right? So video generation, this is a bit more of a different team from sort of maybe the transformer research you're doing. But let's say I want to make like a really cool and interesting slide for people to reference to when they look at transformer architecture. So using Gemini, so going to gemini.google.com, and only if you have a pro account, unfortunately now, you are actually able to use Veo3 to generate very lifelike videos, especially those that have lip syncing and also like action matching. And so let's have an idea. John, what kind of stuff do you want to see in your slides for transformer videos?
Let's do something a bit more imaginative. So
Mhm.
maybe we have like ask the video to, because transformer is an input output system. So I want the box to go inside a conveyor belt, and then the box becomes like a butterfly at the end of it.
So box
The box enters
travels
from maybe the left side of a conveyor belt and then emerges as a butterfly on the right.
into a conveyor belt through a machine
Yep.
that is AI and futuristic, exits the other side to become a butterfly. And one thing that's notable with VO3 prompts is that you can prompt like the sequence of things happening. So for example, I can say camera panning from left to right, tracking the action. And one thing that I want to showcase with VO3 is the fact that you can do speech generation as well. So let's have, okay, this might be a bit too complicated, but we can have a narrator at the side describing the transformer architecture. So hopefully this is not too complicated for it, but we will see what happens. So sometimes this model has a propensity to deny your prompts because it's very sensitive to people generating maybe politically or maybe offensive stuff. So okay, once you see this, it means you're good to go. They're not censoring you. But what can happen is, let's say if you prompt it with political figures, it tends to just refuse to generate outright. So that's something to take note of when you're using video generation models. Okay, so that's video generation. Let's go back and see if my music is finished generating. It's going to take a bit longer today for some reason. Unfortunate.
Yeah, no
Usually it will be done.
worries. Yeah, actually, from what you have shown so far, you have shown two Google models. So we recommend people to go for the Google Pro subscription because like it seems that the free tier maybe can only do the music, the Lyria one, right? The basic one. If you want to access the latest models, you kind of need the subscription.
Hmm. So for Google Gemini, a lot of the features here are locked behind the Google Pro subscription paywall. So Google Pro. But for US students, there's actually 15 months free. So all the US friends out there, you can actually get 15 months free of Gemini Pro. Uh, for everything that I show off in AI Studio, it is really available. So as long as you have a Google account, you can use it. Uh, for AI Studio specifically, it doesn't matter if you're a paid or free user. So that's sort of the beauty of AI Studio. However, your data will be shared with Google. So that is sort of the trade-off. You can't prevent your data from being shared if you're on a free tier. Uh, and then for Vertex AI, they actually provide every new account with $300 free of credit. So as long as you sign up for new accounts, uh, you can actually use the AI Studio however much you like. And it's basically infinite because you're 300 US dollars free of credit. But just be careful to not exceed the free plan limit. Otherwise, they might charge you. Um, so to summarize, if you use Gemini to generate videos, you need a pro plan, which costs 15 US dollars a month, give or take. But Google is giving 15 months of Gemini Pro for free for US education users. And if you use AI Studio, everything is free. And if you use Vertex AI Studio, which is different, so Google branding can be confusing, uh, everything is basically free because you're $300 of credit. But you must set up like all the accounts first. So solve the limitation. Yeah.
But cool. You
Uh,
know, actually, before this, I wasn't too big of a Google fan. After they released that whole suite of models, video, music, in fact, the Gemini 2.5 Pro, deep research is very good. Yeah, so all these things have made me shift over to Google as well. Like previously, I was using OpenAI exclusively. So I think the AI landscape is very competitive. Like companies keep releasing new models. It's very hard to keep track on what's the latest models anymore. What's your like advice for people starting out in this field? Like how do they know which models to use? Are there any tips and guidelines that you yourself have found out to get to the models that you're showing today?
yeah. So actually, my favorite source of information is Reddit. Usually, when there's a model that's really good, it will make a splash on Reddit. Then you see like what is the best sort of models to use. So some subreddits that I keep track of is r/Gemini, r/OpenAI also has like a few people just discussing about models. But maybe for people who are less inclined to go on this kind of discovery, there's actually a lot of benchmarks out there that show you how good a model is. So benchmark LM models. Every day there's new models getting released. Um, so for example, Bench is one of the ones that is decent for like more technical questions. But obviously not everyone uses Bench. Not everyone does coding. So Bench has a lot of SWE coding benchmarks, language benchmarks, and over here you will see that some of the models rank very highly. So 2.5 full preview. So when it comes to picking up the models you like, it really comes down to preference, um, and also just trying it out. So give the top models here a chance, see whether it works for your use case. If it doesn't work, just try another one. It's really easy to switch between models now. Uh, but the good thing about Gemini, the good thing about Google, and why I recommend it is because of the fact that AI Studio exists. So all the models top of the range are all free to use. Whereas for OpenAI, you must pay a plan for ChatGPT. So for example, I open ChatGPT here. I would need to pay a certain amount of money for it, $20 a month. And same with Claude. They lock behind their latest four Sonnet or four Opus models behind a paywall. So the good thing about using Gemini is that it's free and also it scores relatively highly. And based on sort of my usage experience, even if these models are free, I will still use Gemini because I tested out all the models and I found it to work the best for my use case, which is coding. Um, but for the first models on LiveBench, usually you'll see that there's a model that works well for you. And for some models with some people with specific requirements, like let's say you need offline LLMs, you need to select these LLMs like Qwen that you can run locally. Then that's very clear. So Qwen or DeepSeek R1 that you can run locally. Um, but basically that's how I go into the idea of selecting models. Yeah. But for video and music generation, that is really just based on off of what you see on Reddit and people posting what they've generated, because those things are a lot harder to objectively rate how good they are. So based off of experience. Okay, so the video is still generating, unfortunately. I'll just show what I generated before this demo actually. So over here I have a man speaking into a microphone addressing a group of soldiers.
We are the shield, and we are the sword. It is our time now to rise and defend what is rightfully ours.
So over here, you see this is actually state of the art in terms of being able to do lip syncing, being able to do voice generation, and also combining it with all the hand movements. And you can really see how realistic the actions and everything is. So Veo3 is a bit of a groundbreaking model when it comes to video generation. And actually, there are many examples of people using it nowadays to generate trailers. And maybe in the future, we can see entire movies generated with Veo3, which is actually quite crazy. Because it will only cost like $100 to generate like a 10-minute segment. Whereas if you were to go do a production run, it will cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is a big disruption for the creative industry as a whole.
Actually, just curious, let's say if you want to continue your video, if you type in another prompt after this, will they be able to use the previous video as context so that, the next video frame or next video frames would be similar to those that you have already generated before, that you can continue the storyline?
Okay, so I am aware that that would be possible using another Google app called Flow. Unfortunately, it is only available for Google AI Ultra subscribers now. So I would need to pay $150 a month to get access to that. So that's a bit unfortunate. But in this interface, you are able to access videos in the past and be able to say, okay, I'm going to use a certain frame from a previous video to generate the next frame. But until I have access to it, then I'll be able to advise on that more. But currently, this is only exclusive to the higher tier of subscribers. So
That's insane. Like
uh,
if you can do this, right, you can have a very smooth storyboarding and you can generate an entire movie just using the previous frames and then saying, hey, I want the character to move left now. I want the character to interact with this person. Then it should be quite smooth transition because it already knows what frames to carry on from.
mm,
Yeah, quite
yeah.
exciting, quite exciting. So it seems to me that Google is trying to dominate the whole field, and I think they have successfully done it because they have a lot of training data. The entire web is Googled. So, with respect to the
Yeah.
multimodal model training, they've trained on videos, images, text, audio. So, multimodal output of video with sound, with audio is generally no problem for the Google models. So it's really quite impressive
Mm,
how far we have come.
And they also own YouTube as well. I think there was a statistic in the past that's like 400 hours of video is uploaded every minute on YouTube. Don't quote me on that. But it really does show that Google gets a lot of video training data.
I wonder
So
if I put my
a lot
name
of
there,
their
would
video
they
models.
I wonder if I put my name there, would they know my face? Because they're trained if they train on YouTube mod videos.
They probably do because they have a license that says that we are allowed to use any of your data
Oh
to train
no.
whatever we feel like it.
Then deepfakes will be a problem. Like
I think we are far beyond that point already, unfortunately. You know, it just thought the video model showed that there was a rate limit issue, getting a lot of requests now. So I'm going to ask it to generate again. Unfortunately, a lot of people are using the video model now because it's so good. So
no
it will take
worries.
some time.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
video we wait until the end again. The music one, if it's done, you can show. If not, we can move on to the next part.
Yeah. Let's go back to the music one. Uh, uh
Okay, maybe don't have to show this because it could be
mhm.
possible that you are sending multiple requests. That's why it's not able to load both.
Yeah, that's true. So we've went through more of some of the more creative ideas with music and video. So now I'm going to go more into the research stuff now. How do we use it in daily day-to-day research? So still on the topic of transformer architectures, I want to make a good presentation for people. But let's say I'm a complete noob that has no idea what this transformer paper is, and I need a help to do research. So maybe I can ask my very smart friend here, John, who knows all about transformers, but maybe he's more busy now. So who will I ask? Well, actually, we have a very good tool over here, also in aistudio.google.com. If we were to go to stream real time, we can actually access some of the most advanced real-time um, streaming models that is able to see what I see on my screen and can even look at me in real time also if using the webcam. Uh, but we'll not be demoing that today because I don't really have much around me. And we are also able to talk to it real time as well. So over here, there's two models that are available currently as of June 4th, 2025. There is this thinking dialogue model, and then there's this normal model. So thinking model is quite a bit smarter because it's a reasoning model. Over here, it will show you the output format. So it's audio and text. It's able to stream to you the audio real time. You can select the voice. So let's go for a bit of a more
What
easygoing
kind of
voice.
project are you thinking of?
And then media resolution is how much detail you wanted to see on the screen. One thing that I like to turn on is actually effective dialogue, which changes its voice based on how you speak to it. So let's say you speak faster, it will reply to you faster. Let's say you speak in an angry accent, then it will try to adjust accordingly the expectations. And you can also adjust the session context, which is basically how much of the conversation it remembers. And last one is grounding with Google search, which means it's actually able to search on Google whatever you see real time. So let's go ahead and try it out. We'll go ahead and click talk. So now I can talk to it real time. Hi Google, can you hear me?
Okay, you clicked on top and Google is okay now. Got it. What's next?
Okay, so Google can hear me. Now I'll go ahead and share my screen over here. Hi Google, I am going to do some research on transformers and I'll need help with that. Do you think you can help with that?
Sure, I can definitely help you with research on Transformers. Just to clarify, are you researching the fictional robot franchise or the Transformer model architecture and machine learning? Once you clarify, I can provide more specific assistance.
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually. My friend just sent me this paper. Do you think this is the robot or do you think this is the paper?
Based on the title, Attention is All You Need, it's likely that this paper is about the transformer model architecture in machine learning, as that's the well-known paper that introduced it.
Okay, can you give me a summary? This looks very complicated. I have no idea what recurrent neural networks is.
The paper Attention is All You Need introduces the transformer model, which is a new way to process
Hey,
sequential data,
hey
like
Siri.
text.
Hey,
Unlike traditional models
hey
like
Google.
recurrent neural networks, the
Hi,
transformer
sorry
uses
Google. Can you
attention
talk a bit
mechanisms,
faster?
the importance of different parts of the sequence simultaneously, making it more efficient and capable of handling longer sequences. It has had a major impact on fields like natural language
Hi, can you
processing.
help me look at this architecture as well? I'm not sure what all the layers here do.
The diagram shows the overall transformer model architecture. It generally consists of an encoder on the left and a decoder on the right. The encoder processes the input sequence, while the decoder generates the output sequence. Both structures primarily use layers like multi-head attention, add-a-norm, and feed-forward networks. The attention mechanism allows the model to focus on relevant parts of the
Hi,
input.
sorry. Can you explain to me what this concatenation layer does?
In the multi-head attention mechanism, the input is split into multiple heads, and attention is applied to each head separately. The concatenation layer then takes the outputs from all these heads and combines them into a single tensor. This allows the model to gather information from the different attention.
Okay, so that was basically a demo of how it
That's
works.
quite crazy actually. Like that means you can actually have your own personal assistant looking at your computer all the time. And then when you need help, you just say, hey, can you help me search for this? Then you can just look on what you have on your screen and then you can search. Does it look at only the frame you are asking, or does it look at the entire video before that as well?
From my experience testing, it looks at the video as well. So you can ask it previously what it saw, and it's able to sort of summarize the situation. So actually, we can just test that now. So let's say I connect to the server now, and then afterwards, I can ask it, hey Google, can you give me a sequence of what we did just now, or like what papers I looked at just now? Okay, so I think there's a bit of an issue connecting now, because maybe there's higher latency. But you can see over here, right, in the turn by turn conversation, it actually records the video that we did and also records the audio that we said as well. So actually it's able to reference the past videos. So not just like immediately what is on the frame, but also it records and sends over its context. So it's quite powerful in that regard that it has that visual memory.
Actually,
So
if you take a look at the video,
awesome.
it's not the full length, right, of like the 23 seconds, or is it? There is a summary of the video. I guess it doesn't take the entire changes, right? They only take like maybe those changes where the screen change or something. I'm just trying to guess here.
Yes, I think it does, but honestly, I haven't looked very deeply into the back end. And for this particular streaming model, um, the architecture isn't well documented. I think this is a summary output of what it knows, but from my knowledge, it should be able to retrieve anything within the session context window over here.
Oh, see
And
over here is 27 seconds that match with the audio. So maybe for some instances where you keep moving the screen, it keeps recording everything. But if your screen is like stagnant there, it will just remove the duplicates. I mean that's what I observe right now from the length of the video and the length of the audio. So it's very cool. Like that means to the model, you are giving it multimodal inputs. You're giving it multimodal audio, multimodal video, text. And I guess if you want, you can also drag in your own images in there. So the Gemini model is able to interpret all this and come up with a multimodal output, be it like a voice or be it video. I mean, I guess you can generate video as well with this model. Um, I mean, they use Veo3, but I'm sure this model itself should be capable of generating images and video as well. Yeah, so it's very cool. Multimodal input to multimodal output.
yeah, multimodal input, multimodal output, precisely. Uh, I feel like this tool is fantastic. Searching someone to does when the live models were quite bad. So 2.0 Flash, there was also a model, but it was quite dumb. But with 2.5, with the thinking, it's actually one of the smartest models that can sort of do this live streaming with thing with you. Yeah. So for research, and also let's say you're preparing for an interview, I think this is also quite a good tool. So once I'm done, right, I can actually just go ahead and type. Give me executive summary that is detailed as to what is discussed that can be used as input to create slides. And we will now move on to the next part. So after we finish our research on
The
transformers,
attention is all you need paper.
so after we finish our research, we want to compile this into a slides. So how do we do it? We will actually need to bring on another tool, another two tools actually. So the first tool is ChatGPT. So I'm sure all of you have used it and know it. But why do we need to use ChatGPT? Because the app that we're using to generate slides, which is Gamma, works well with ChatGPT output, and not so much with Gemini output, unfortunately.
So actually, this is
Okay.
quite an interesting observation you have. Like it means that a lot of the app layers that use LLM outputs, maybe because of the initial wave of OpenAI popularity, a lot of the prompts are customized to use OpenAI LLMs. I mean, that also includes the agentic framework I've created, like Agent Joe. Initially, it was all customized with OpenAI. And I do realize that if you use other models as the inputs, maybe you don't get that desired response because each prompts are all unique for the models. So it's very interesting that you note here that there's a difference in the output quality. And that also means that, most apps, maybe as default, we should try to use OpenAI first. And then after that, we see Gemini and see what's the difference. If there's not much difference, you can continue to use Gemini. But it might be that OpenAI might still be needed for legacy purposes.
So most of the AI tools in the back end currently use OpenAI, but actually more and more is transitioning to Gemini as well, because Gemini has much better pricing. But definitely for Gamma, the main thing why we want to use ChatGPT to generate the slides breakdown is because of the fact that it provides us with separators. So what do I mean by separators? I'll go through that later. So over here in ChatGPT, I will paste in the executive summary that I received from Gemini, and then I'll say, generates slides structure.
Oh, we are not
With,
able to see the. Yes, now we can see it.
okay, so generate a slide structure for my presentation on transformers. And then also you can give it the number of slides that you want. Make it, I think maybe 7 slides is a good balance. Make it 7 slides and also details in information. And then few things you can use. You can turn on search so it knows some context. And also you can ask it to output in canvas mode so that it gives it to you in a separate window. So in normal chats, what you see is it will just give it to you in the chat window. But when you use a canvas mode, okay, so it doesn't trigger all the time, but it is supposed to have a separate sort of window where it's able to print out the format. But over here, you can see that we have these separators. So this is the important part of what we need to paste into Gamma. So over here, we'll just copy the entire markdown output. We go back to Gamma. And in Gamma, all we have to do is to just click on Create with AI. And then we go to this screen where we can actually paste in the text outline over here. So let's go to paste in outline. And then we want to create a traditional presentation that we can actually present. and then it's now generating without prompt. Fantastic.
So actually, after you have recommended Gamma to me, I have used it as well. Found it quite good for like pitch decks, but not so much for my like YouTube sessions where you want a bit more of the creative side handled by yourself. But if you're okay with a more generic kind of feel for your slides with professional kind of style and images, I think Gamma is very good for first draft. Yeah, so I'm quite glad you introduced to me Gamma. I think this is one of the apps that are like life changing because you literally don't have
Life
to do the
changing.
slides yourself anymore for the first draft.
Yeah. I think this is very helpful for startup founders that need to generate like pitch decks for your investors, but you want it to look nice, but you don't really have the time to really spend like doing all the custom graphics designing. Using Gamma can really help you accelerate that process very fast. It seems like Gamma is having a bit of a rate limit issue currently. So just give me a second. Gamma thinks that I am a bot. Just a moment. Yeah, but for more technical presentations, the best way to actually execute them is to generate, for example, in latex for ChatGPT, and then use a latex renderer to render out your slides. Gamma does not support equations and all those things very well, but I'm sure as we move on, the support might get better and better. So over here, you see it generates all the prompts and also all the slides. So we can just delete all of the parts that are not required. You see that over here, once we pasted it in with the ChatGPT format, it actually converted it to slide by slide for us. So over here, you can see there's a pro tip. If you're asking ChatGPT to create outlines of content, you can ask it to add dash 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 between sections. So this is the reason we use ChatGPT, because it's better at section separation.
Actually,
And
I'm
next
sure
thing,
if you prompt Gemini to add in this between sections, you can get a similar output also.
yeah, but it's less consistent because I think the fine tuning for Gemini they like to do their own style for that. But if you have the right prompts, I'm sure you can get it to section by section. Yeah.
Yeah,
So over
cool.
here, you can actually generate the text content. I can also give it a language. So if I wanted something in Chinese, if I wanted something in UK English, okay, for this images section, this is the most important part. So how do you generate like copyright-free images that look great and are tailored specifically for your presentation? So Gamma can help with that. That's actually the main reason why Gamma is so good for this. The best models to use is GPT image, because GPT image, which is ChatGPT's latest image generation model, is fantastic for text. When we do using AI, one of the things that we actually don't want people to know is that we are using AI. So that sounds a bit ironic, but I think it's sort of the idea that people have that using AI is legit, right? So a lot of AI art actually must be a bonus. Sometimes the text you generate is muddled. You don't want that to happen. You use GPT image. Unfortunately, you have to pay $20 a month to Gamma for the privilege to use GPT image. But that is the cost of AI sometimes. So over here for image style, I can say I want it to be technical. I can want it to be, let's say I want it to be futuristic, and then it can generate images for me in the style. So it goes very fast. Let's pick a theme. Let's pick a nice looking theme. Let's go with Vortex. It's like a more professional looking vibe. We click on generate, and we can actually see it generating live, which I think is the coolest thing about Gamma. It's very fast, unlike some of the other slide generation apps out there. And also it does it all live and you can edit. So let's see it happen.
It's quite cool to see how it like maps from one abstraction space to another. Like you give it the prompt, it maps into the sections. And then after that, it maps the sections to the slide format and generates the image as needed based on the text. I think it's really cool how the LM is used as a pipeline like this. And I think this is the way of automation. Like I mean I do automation for my company as well. I think this is the way to go. Like very focused and very efficient kind of automation that you can just convert things from one form to another in a certain way that you really want it to do. And I think Gamma does that very well.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think automation is the way to go. So many companies experimenting automation now. Um, Especially for a lot of all these things, which I think are more are more like um. So for things that are
Oh,
more
look at
like
that.
presentation based,
Real-time generation. Look at
prompt based,
that.
real time generation just generates everything for you. And it's now generating the image, core concepts of the transformer. Give it a bit of time for the image to generate. It gives you like very nice graphics as well. It gives you like icons that you can choose between. So let's say I don't want just one for multi-head self-attention. I can actually ask it for head, and then let's see if I have like a multiple head thing. Let's say this. Then I can actually give it better prompts for the icons. And this is one of the things that has like a sort of startup picture, hackathon, like participants. You want to have very nice icons for your slides. So beyond just like AI generated images that look nice, you want nice icons. I think Gamma is a great way to be that. So over here you can see it has like sort of a representation of the attention mechanism over here.
This one is
I'm not
probably GPT generated because like the cat set on the map, the cat's supposed to have only one circle at the cat, but they put two circles there, which means that it's probably not from the internet and generated by the LM itself, this image.
yep,
Yeah, which means
generated
also
by
must be careful when you use it for technical content because the images may not correspond very well with the core idea. But I've tested it for business ideas, works very well. But for technical stuff, that's why I say I still prefer to do it on my own because there's some nuances here that like only the presenter would know how to present in a certain way. Yeah.
yep. It's better for like all these sort of more abstract concepts, like the idea that we go from, well, this isn't quite right, is it? So RNNs in the past is sequential, that's why it's slow.
Yeah,
So actually this should be
I
the
think we
left
picked the
side,
wrong topic
and
to
parallel
demonstrate
should be the right
this
side.
Gamma. Gamma is best done for business speeches. That's how you won all your hackathons using Gamma.
Yeah, but in the case of, let's say something is wrong, right? You can say transformer speed versus traditional. You can actually modify your prompts yourself. So traditional sequential RNN models with illustration, and you can actually modify the images. So it's not just like, okay, generate, that's it, it's wrong. You can actually go in and be like, hey, you're a dumb model, correct yourself. And over here, let's say you have this. So like John said, it's not very good for generating very technical images. So you can make it generate more like ideal images. So abstract.
Let's change the prompt here a
So
bit.
maybe
We just say that,
yeah,
like show me show me an abstraction of how you do next token prediction. Or just put next token prediction. We see what it generates.
yeah. It is it's definitely better, like John said, to give it more like abstract images. If you ask it to generate like a concept like this, this is also
Yeah,
crap.
the sequential transformer
Um,
missing a circle there. Yeah, so this is the problem with AI image models. They are great for stuff that are not very technical, but once technical, you want all the things to be there in the right place. That the AI images may not adhere very well. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes you want left to right. It's better to put the left one on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and generate it. Hopefully it gets it correct. But okay, over here we have a new image. See, this is not bad. It's not a very technical
This one,
image.
this one
It
is
just
okay.
shows
This one
you.
is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to
So a
give
lot.
abstract concepts, I think this is fine.
Hmm. But for example, a slide like this over here, right? All it took me was like 10 minutes. And I think this is perfectly good enough to host a presentation in a lab, let's say, if you want to give like a rough idea to a more non-technical audience, right? So this is very helpful. Previously, it might have taken me half a day just to figure out the images, sort of what slides to put in. But now it takes me like barely any time. And I can also add in like new slides. So let's say I put in real world applications, it can actually just go ahead and generate me a slide with the images and everything. So this is pretty awesome. Let's see if we finally got it correct. Okay, this a lot better. But the
And
transformer
not
architecture is
really.
still not
The
quite right.
transformer doesn't look right. That one looks more like a game than architecture for this. That one, the
Yeah,
one with the
and
different
you see all
network
these symbols are like, yeah.
still
So
doesn't
so
quite right, but yeah, I think we can leave it as that. Yeah. You probably don't want to put technical images that are AI generated. It'll be best to just snip that part of the PDF and put here.
yeah, precisely. So you can change your prompts to make it better. You can keep trying until it gives you something. Raw applications, NLP, CV,
You see over
content
here,
generation.
this is great. This picture is great for the slide because this is an abstract image talking about a broad concept without much technical details. I think AI images do this very well.
Yeah, I mean,
Some
it looks
question though.
fantastic.
How do I change the
Mhm.
slide format? Let's say we take a look at like maybe this slide. If let's say you don't like this style, how can I change the layout to? There we go. Yeah, try the different layouts.
Yeah, it's
Cool,
super
cool.
easy. Gamma, the best thing is, I mean, it's a good and a bad thing. So it's very layout based, right? So traditional slides, like you drag along text boxes and everything. Over here in Gamma, everything snaps to place. So because it snaps to place, you can actually try out new formats very fast. Like you want icon, you want this, you want to change it up. Takes like 5 seconds. Whereas previously, if I did this in PowerPoint, I have to be like, oh, I need a new icon here, I need new text here. That would take me like 15 minutes just to change one slide. Here it takes 5 seconds. And that's
Very cool. It means they
amazing.
already have pre-programmed it such that the different templates can take in arbitrary number of boxes and then it will still fit nicely.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
And
you
it
notice
uses
when we
the
change through the templates, we are literally not changing the content. We are just changing the layout, which means that the logos and everything are kept constant throughout the different layout changes. And it's just depending whether that layout template has a logo to display or not, that affects whether the logo appears.
mm, precisely.
Yeah.
So so as a creative, you're able to really get the process going so much faster. Yeah. So honestly, Gamma is one of the best hacks that I have to share for people who like presenting but don't like to do slides. I'm one of them.
Yeah, imagine
So
your
try
prof
it out.
asks you to present like the next day and you haven't read the paper yet. Just copy paste the paper in ChatGPT, ask for 10 slides, then put it into Gamma, and boom, there goes your slides. Change a few of the
Yeah.
images and you're done.
Mm. Yeah, you can even research together with Gemini. Then you paste in what you research with the paper to ChatGPT, generate super
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. If you want to do lit
It's
review,
a new
Gemini deep research. Then after that, use GPT generate slides. Then after that, paste to Gamma.
yeah. There's so much different things you can do with AI now. It's great. Unfortunately, the video is not done because I think it's still really limited. But okay, so we're almost at the end. I'll just go through one last thing, which is how do you vibe code? So this will be a very short set, a very short vibe coding. So we can host a longer one next time. But okay, so what exactly vibe coding is my idea of it, turn off your brain, give it an idea, let AI do the work. But at the same time, you must know what executive decisions to make, right? So you can't just entirely leave it to AI. You have to sit back, relax, but AI can just ruin everything. So few important things before you set up vibe coding. I like using VS Code. It's the standard code editor for everyone. The tool I'm going to use today is GitHub Copilot because it's free for students. Some people use Cursor. There's also Windsurf. And then there's also other agentic tools like Klein or Rupode. GitHub Copilot, the nice thing is you pay one price and you can use it however many times you like. So a lot of the other models are API pricing. So the more you use, the more you have to pay. It can get pretty crazy, like $200. For GitHub Copilot, you pay 10 US dollars. Or if you're a student, it's free. So I'll just show off how do you vibe code. First of all, you start with a new folder, completely empty over here. The next thing you want to do is to initialize a Git repository so that you keep track of all your changes. Now, this is very important because you want to make sure that AI does not screw up your code and you're able to hop back to previous versions. So over here, right, I set up a Git repo. I'm not going to push it to remote now, but let's start vibe coding. So we go new workspace with Copilot. It will just say hashtag new. I'll just say help me create a website on this topic. And then you can also define the stack that you use. So over here, for example, I can say use Vite, which is like a website template. And then I can say like make it as simple as possible. One thing you want to do, right, is to ask it to use less libraries, because with libraries that are imported, it can screw up a lot of the times. The reasoning is AI models, they are trained on data from last year, and libraries change very fast, particularly when it comes to Python libraries and web dev libraries. So you want to ask it to use less libraries. Or if you're going to use a library, you paste in the documentation for the library as context, which we'll go into another day. But over here, you can
Does
also
Copilot
choose.
do web search?
Not that I know of.
So I think that's a
Unfortunately.
limitation. If they do web search, I think the code generated will be much nicer because they can reference the latest APIs.
Yeah, agree. If they can do web search, but even if they do web search, they still have to know what to look for. When it comes to the docs, and I think it's still not quite there yet. Almost there when it comes to doing its own research. But it's still harder than just simple Google and getting the right results. Yeah.
All
But
right,
for example, over here,
let's impress me. Come, let's see what the output is. I'm quite excited to see.
let's have a look. So we can choose model as well. For now, the best for agentic coding is the Claude models. They are designed for this kind of like agentic web building use. 2.5 Pro tends to overcomplicate things too much. GPT 4.1 is not bad. But O4 Mini and O3 can be quite lazy sometimes. So I don't tend to like to use it. But they're good for more technical problems. So 2.5 Pro and the thinking models. So Claude 4 Sonnet, let's see what we get.
Oh, nice.
So
So your recommendation is to use Claude for coding, right?
yes, Claude for web app,
Yeah, so I
web
summarize
application.
again. Image, video, Gemini. You use Gemini. If you want to do like certain document processing, ChatGPT. And then if you want to do code, you use Claude.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
If you want to do agentic coding, you use Claude. So now I'm going to give it the stuff that I summarized from what topic is the paper's attention is all you need. So let's see. what it can come up with. So over here, I choose my folder and see, let me create a simple website. So I'll just go ahead and let it run commands. Be very careful. Make sure it doesn't run commands like rm-rf without you being very clear on what it's doing. Otherwise, you might lead to some disaster for your computer. So you sort of still need to look at what it's exactly doing. But over here, npm install, whatever, that's normal stuff. Usually the models, they are trained to be on the safer side. So that's a good thing. But still it's best to have some idea of what it's doing. Okay, so now it's installing the dependencies. So this is using Node Vibe React framework. So common framework for fast web dev.
Yeah, actually
It's doing its
quite
thing.
good that they let you approve before you run the terminal or the command line stuff, because it means that you have a bit more control over what is being run in your computer.
Yeah, it's a much better idea than to just give it something and have it do all the code yourself, it by itself. So now it's changing some of the index of HTML. We can actually see the files being generated. So like JS, style CSS, the counter.
Or it generated the whole
Not sure
package by
why.
itself without from an empty file. It generated all this like 8 different files. I
Yeah,
think about it.
it's just like
Or
amazing.
actually more than
And
8.
then at each stage, right, you monitor it, and when it wants to change a lot of things, you can just go ahead and stage your changes first. So any new changes, right, you can review and sort of add to your version control. So these are the 3 things you need. You need your version control, you need your chat. These 2 main important things when vibe coding. So now it's just doing its thing. It's just adding like 180 lines of code. It just straight up. I'm just turning off my brain at this point. So over here, continue to iterate, sure. And now, okay, over here it says RMRF,
I
right?
see this is the dangerous part.
So,
Whenever there's a RMRF, must look at it.
so over here, I'm like, I don't feel like reviewing this. Just don't RMRF. Click on cancel. And then now I'll just say, go ahead and run the website. Okay.
This is a game changer. Like if you don't know anything about website coding, suddenly you can code your own website now just by vibe coding.
Yeah. It is amazing. Okay, so let's go ahead and npm run dev. You're doing its thing.
So the website can be hosted directly on your computer, right? Like because you have created all your environments already.
Yeah, it can be hosted directly on your computer. But best practice is to Dockerize it, which you can also ask the agent to do.
Oh, you can vibe
So
code the
now,
Docker process.
oh yeah, let's try it. It would probably work. So over here, it generated the website, nice formatting, everything. Let's say I don't really like purple on black. I can just ask it to change. I don't like purple on black. Purple on black, right?
Must at least
And
tell
then
it what color to change, right? If not, it will just be guessing what you want.
yeah, so now it's gonna use blue and white. Then I'm like, sure. But probably best to tell it what you want exactly. So now it's able to go look at it and be like, all right, now I'm gonna change purple to black.
It'll be really cool if someone creates a UI for this kind of website. Then you can just like click on one button and then you can drag this section and then just say, I want to change this section to something else. Like, that would be like a live interface to just edit the website. I don't know whether any startup is doing that, but that would be really cool to have. So you can like look at the website itself, click on the section and just say what you want. And vibe code is done at the background.
Mm. I think some companies are doing that, like Lovable. Yeah. But for all those, they try to dumb down the experience even more. and make it even further away from using a code editor. So they
Yeah,
use their own very simple editor, which personally
understand.
I don't like because it gives you a lot less control over the code. So now you're still able to be like, all right, I want to change the margin, change the line height. You can still do that. But with all those online editors, like it's a bit harder. So let's see what it changed to. Okay, it changed to this. Now it's blue on black. Uh, we can ask it to change further if we want. But let's say we want to do the Docker thing. So it can be like, help me Dockerize this app so I can deploy, right?
I wonder if they
So
need
we can
your
see what
Docker
it
key
does.
and everything because, yeah. Oh, actually, no, no. If you have the Docker installed already, you can just run. You can just build your Docker.
Yeah, just give it the Docker file, then you load in like this as like a
This
image.
this this actually is very annoying for me. Like I don't like to write Docker files. It's quite cool to see everything can be automated.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You
And
know,
and the
Jensen Huang
fun thing
has
is,
Jensen Huang has mentioned before. Like in the future, people don't need to know programming. Actually, based on your vibe coding experience, do you think that's true or like that's not really true?
I think you still need to know programming to know what it does. Otherwise, you just be going in blind, right? It's sort of like, okay, so when you do math, you have a calculator, so you don't really need to know mental sums anymore. But at the end of the day, it's still important to know how long division works so that you know the concept. But it's not really so important the act of doing it fast anymore. But let's say you give a kindergartner who has no idea what sine and cosine is, and then you ask them to use a calculator to figure it out, it's going to be useless for them. So that's sort of where I stand with vibe coding. It's useful for lazy people, but make sure that you know what the code does. Like personally, I know what Docker does. I did web programming, so I know how to change all the margins. I know like what this HTML stuff is, how to change the tag, everything. So I'm comfortable with doing it, right? But if you don't know anything at all and you go into it blind, maybe you can do that the first time, but you should take time to learn what everything is and get comfortable with it.
I
Okay,
agree.
it
Yeah.
configured engines, copy. And the next thing is for people who deploy on Docker is easy. You we have like a container app. You just need to load in this container. I don't have Docker running now, but afterwards connect to your registry of your choice, and then you just deploy it on the cloud service, GCS, Azure. Super easy. This website would have taken in the past like a few days to set up. Now it takes like 15 minutes, which is amazing. Okay, so
That's really
some
cool.
yeah,
I'm impressed already. Yeah. I think this is something that um will take a lot of effort to do. And you can just prompt your way through it. You can just say I want it in certain style, I want it in this box or what, and then the LM will just cater to your prompt. And I mean, looks like your prompt isn't very sophisticated as well. It's literally like just talking to another person. Like you're talking to a junior engineer maybe, or you're talking to a colleague saying, "Hey, I want to do it in this way." And then the LM just takes that and processes it for you.
yeah. It's good to be specific with the prompt. But actually, a lot of all the more like normal prompt engineering has already been done by engineers from GitHub, done by engineers from Gamma. They have their own internal prompting framework that they use. So a lot of the prompts you use actually don't have to be too technical, but your
Yeah,
instructions still have to be clear. Like I wasn't so clear with my instructions today, but it's definitely good practice to be clear with exactly what,
I
right?
agree.
It's just like talking to them.
I think in general, it is easier to get the outcome you want if you are more specific about it and you give more details, then the LM can adhere to those details. Like, you want to use Vite, then you specify that in the prompt. If you want it to generate like 7 page of slides, you need to say 7 slides. Yeah, you don't just say generate slides. I think in general, those are kind of the basics of prompt engineering. And yeah, it's really cool to see how far it has come. Like just last year, I've just been prompting text only. And just look at your slide here. There's now music, PowerPoint slides, video, and entire GitHub repos. okay, I mean, just now you didn't demo GitHub repo, but you can also do it on GitHub repo to basically change the entire GitHub repo just by prompting. And I mean, right now, not I would say all of them are still at the early stage. It may work only for simple stuff, more complex code like big databases. The prompting, I mean the context itself might exceed the context limit of the token limit of the LM, so you may not get very good experience if you have a very large database, especially if you don't extract the right chunks out. So I think all this will improve over time. But really amazing to see like just how far we have come since ChatGPT in 2022. Now it's 2025 only, and we have so many more things. Yeah.
Yeah, like the progress of improvement is exponential at this point. Gets better and better. And a lot of the things, I mean, we did go through a lot, like music, slides, videos, coding. These are things in the past that have taken professionals multiple days, if not weeks to do. Uh, I did all that in an hour. And that's crazy if you think about it, if you are a person from the past. And so honestly, I think has like a startup founder or like has someone who has an idea and wants to bring it into the world, it's now an easier time than ever to do it. And you're not only limited by your imagination as to what you can do. So it's really a fantastic tool, all the AI tools that we have.
Yeah. Just to bring back to a point you mentioned just now, like you mentioned that although you write code, you still know how the HTML file looks like, the CSS file looks like, JavaScript looks like. I think that's an important point. You still need to know some basic programming because if not, you'll just be vibe coding without knowing what your code does, and that can be dangerous. Like I've experienced, I mean, I've done vibe coding myself. Sometimes the AI goes in circles, and if you don't know your code, you'll just be stuck as well. Or worse still, they print out your secret key, which what happened when I did vibe coding live on my YouTube back then. It printed out my API key for OpenAI. I have no idea who put that kind of code inside the LM, but that's really sneaky. Yeah, so you need to really check all this kind of security breaches and stuff. I think you still can't escape from knowing the code, but at least for simple code, the process of generating it is much simplified now. You can just automate the whole thing.
Precisely.
Yeah, you know,
So still
someone
have
told
to
me
know what you're
before,
doing.
like for experienced programmers, like this kind of vibe coding with some checks, like you can do things really, really fast. But if you are inexperienced, when you write code, you end up with so many bugs. Someone needs to help you correct it. The process might be even slower. So it's up to you to learn enough such that the vibe coding helps instead of hurts you.
Yeah, agreed. Still very important for coding especially. But for the rest of it, I mean, at some points, like slides, music, videos, it's really just based off your vibes and what you like. And these really do help to accelerate. For coding, still learn, very useful skill. Uh, yeah. For example, just now, RMR, you should know what it is. It's asking you to delete a whole bunch of stuff. Just don't do it. Or know what is to not do. That's the important. Yeah. Yeah, but thanks so much, John, for having me on the channel. Um, just great to share all this with whoever's interested. So yeah,
Yeah, I
hope
think
everyone learned something
it's been an
today.
amazing showcase. Like I myself don't know so many vibe coding. I only know text-based vibe coding, but now I see so many things that you can do. And I think this is something that is really cool. And I look forward for you to share more next time when you learn more. You're an awesome AI practitioner. And yeah, I really think that it's very exciting to try out all these AI tools right now. And definitely I will probably get a Gemini Pro subscription as well because I think there's a lot of things to try out there after your
Yeah,
recommendation.
yeah,
Okay, if not, thanks so much, and
yeah.
yeah, we'll see you another time. Bye.
Yeah, thanks.